children. I'm stepping up and being a man for my children, teaching them morals, honor, responsibility. Shout out to the men that say, you know what, I'm tired of sleeping on that couch. I'm tired of using my mother. I'm tired of using that girl. I'm going to step up and be a man for me. Shout out to the men that just graduated from college or going to college. Shout out to the men that graduated from trade school. Shout out to the men that say, yo, I'm just tired of being tired and I need to make a change. Shout out to the men that stayed there, that's raising their children. Shout out to the men that's getting married or want to stay married. Shout out to the men that's taking care of children that's not biologically theirs. Shout out to the men that's trying to figure it out. Shout out to the men because you are a beautiful soul. Shout out to the men that's just being a part of everybody's life to make a change, man. Stop the violence.
All right, man. Shout out to the brothers that's doing it for real and making a change and just stand up for one another and do what's right, man. Do what's right. Protect our women and do what's right. So, you have another star-studded episode on the Chatterbox with King Jacob. I'm your host, King Jacob, and we have none other than you national recording artist, heavy hitter, K-Soul. What's happening?
Hey.
What's going on with you?
Grateful for another day. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. You've been busy.
Yeah, I've been working hard, getting ready to put out a new album, put out an EP last year that did pretty well. So I'm really excited about what's to come.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So how did 2024 go for you from the beginning to the end? How did it pan out?
It ended up being a really great year for me. I put out my EP, Heavy Love, which was a preview of my album that I'm releasing this year. I did a lot of shows performing around Atlanta, as well as going to Houston, going to Charlotte. I won an award in Chicago for music and entertainment. And I also became a Grammy member last year. So it was a big year for me.
Okay. So let's talk about this EP that you had last year. Let's talk about the making of it, the creation of it, and the song choice. If you can enlighten us.
Well, the EP is called Heavy Love. I released it right before Valentine's Day, and it was really about mature and healing love. I felt the need to address what love truly is by the way that God describes love and how we can love ourselves better as well as show up in our relationships with others better. So it ended up being a 4-song EP. I did a music video, lyric videos, and I just recently did a strict set of that for SoCal Sound in Midtown Atlanta.
Okay. So your sound speaks about positivity, love, commitment, dedication, all the above. So why make that choice and make that content? Like, what does that mean to you? When you can impact love through your art form of music.
It means everything to me because we're living in a world where so many things are about materialistic things. It's not rooted in what love truly is. And I felt the need as an artist. I always feel like as artists, it's our job to, comment on the world and give perspective and hopefully to lead people in a positive direction. And I felt like we needed to be reminded of what love really looks like and that it's not all of these superficial clout chasing, likes, comments, all of those things are not love.
So when you're writing, is that from a place of emotions and experience, or is it sometimes writing about what you see others go through as well?
It's both. Yeah, definitely. It's a big part of who I am. I write from the heart. I write the words that God gives me from my experiences personally, but also my interpretations of the world, how I feel about what's going on around me. And in particular, this new album, I'm really commenting on what I believe the state of the world to be, and it's easier for me to do it through my music. I don't really post a lot of political things and stuff like that on my social media, but I do make my music be my statement on those topics.
Okay, okay, okay. And so, you had a lot of radio play in 2024, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about some of that radio play, and how did that stem to get you more real then with your own target market audience?
I think it just ended up being able to cross over. I was on both gospel and R&B. And I think it allowed people to see the spiritual side of it, and that you don't necessarily, just because you may make music that is of a spiritual nature or people consider gospel, it can still fit in other worlds. Because I think that really we have to come out of that. It can't just be to one audience. So it allowed me to really expand my audience and people to open themselves up to the type of music that I make, which really is a fusion that can't be defined by just one genre.
Right, 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 right. And so you, you hail from the greater Chicago area, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about as far as the passion and the power of music, and how did that shape you from a young age?
Music has always been my outlet. I grew up with my grandparents going to church, most Sundays. And so hearing the choir on Sunday mornings was just something so powerful to me. And I just love the way that music can make you feel. You can hear a song and you can go back and remember exactly where you were or what the weather was or what you had on,
Mhm.
and I began to connect with a lot of the emotion of it. And it became a way for me to express myself when, it's even to this day, it's not always easy for me to express those feelings like how you and I are sitting here talking, but I can put them in a song.
Right, right, right. So being shaped from that church background, that gospel background, how did that teach you how to face the real world? You know, after you left your grandparents' house, and after you went on your own mission, your own journey, how did that right there teach you how to kind of face the world, and how to really sustain and get through what we call society's challenges?
It gave me a great background. It really gave me faith, morals, values, kind of a good compass of how I wanted to live my life and show up in the world. So that was important to me and something I still lean on to this day. I pray a lot. I still am very spiritual. Those themes of spirituality are throughout my music. So I think, Jacob, did we lose you?
Right. So it gave you that faith. It gave you that determination, to understand that you can get through whatever the problem may be, just because of your background and the way you was raised. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. 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 Great. 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 So, are there is one particular song that you have that I listen to about 4 times a day, and we gonna talk about it a little bit later. So,
Okay.
so how has it been with you, working with different people? Like, do you like doing features, or are you type of person that like to put out your own message and then maybe do occasional feature?
I do a little bit of both. I've done a lot of features. I've been doing music for a long time now. Whether all of those features have come out or what the other artists have done with them, I can't 100% control that. When it comes to my own work, I have my collaborators, my producer, my engineer. They're all in Chicago. And I really work with them for the most part when it comes to my projects and what I'm doing and God, you know what I mean? Like I consult God a lot in prayer about where I'm going with the music and what needs to be said.
Okay, okay, okay. Mm, I like that. I like that. So from that transition from growing up in Chicago to now you're in Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the difference between what's the difference with the music? You know, that Chicago sound and that Atlanta sound.
That's a good question. Chicago is known a lot, especially in the last few years, for that drill type sound. And Atlanta is more to me like that Southern party vibe sound. But I think for me personally, I still have some of that grittiness of what Chicago would be to me and what it is to me. And I think just being here in Atlanta has allowed me to be just in a different space where I can expand upon that sound and, mesh it into this atmosphere, which I feel like Atlanta has a very, very welcoming artist community.
Okay, so um, when I say Chicago music, I ain't talking about drill at all because I don't listen to drill music.
Okay.
When I say Chicago sound, I'm meaning Curtis Mayfield. I'm meaning Donny Hathaway. I'm meaning Roberta Flack. I'm meaning Selena Johnson. You know, I'm meaning that Chicago sound when you had a Motown and Stax Records and stuff like that, and Stax Records was in competition with Motown and stuff like that. You know, when you had Muddy and you had Wolf and when you had all those greats, you had that Chicago sound, you had that Motown sound. So, do you think that your home place would ever get that sound back, like you heard your grandparents play, like you heard your aunts and uncles play that type of sound?
No, I got you. And honestly, I don't think that it's lost it.
Okay.
I think that the city is still very rich in that type of music, and especially if you frequent a lot of the more underground music scenes, the soul sessions, the open mics, that's that's where those artists are. That's where I used to frequent a lot of those type of places. So it's still very much there. It may not be per se mainstream, but it's still very much the heart of the city.
Okay, that's great. That's really good to hear. The craft and the aura is still there, because a lot of times when it comes to a good R&B or good soul blues music or just good soul gospel, a lot of times in major cities the hip hop will overshadow that, and those artists don't get the due justice that they deserve. So that's why I asked you that question in particular.
No, yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. And there's still a lot of that. You're not wrong in that. And that's why we have to kind of still take those more underground type opportunities because you're right. Some of the more major festivals or things like that, they will tend to lean towards that upbeat young hip hop type sound.
So you know, uh, this genre called Southern Soul is really climbing out there, and it's really making a lot of headlines. And so, do you see yourself doing any Southern Soul records?
I never say never. But that's not my particular style of music per se. But if the right opportunity came about, if I felt something, and knowing me, I could take just a piece of what I like about it and infuse it into what I'm already doing. So I would never say never.
Right. Because it's definitely climbing the charts and things of that nature. So, versus when you first got into the music business, into this digital era of the music business, what is your take on it? How do you feel about the digital era versus the analog era? Because a lot of times, in the olden era, I was, in my opinion, it was more authentic, versus the new digital era. Because in the olden era, you really had to work hard to become a superstar. In this digital era, everybody think they're already a superstar.
Mm.
So, so with that being said, what's your take on how it's so diverse now, and an underground artist can be on the same Spotify's iTunes as Drake or Kendrick or somebody like a SZA or somebody like a Chris Breezy. And I remember back when I first got into the music business, you was underground R&B, you was underground hip hop, and then you had mainstream R&B and mainstream hip hop. So versus now, is everybody just in one pot? Do you feel like that's okay?
No, let me be clear on that. I think that that theme of these kind of Insta stars or Insta artists runs across multiple industries, unfortunately, and we do lose, like you said, that work ethic, the what it really takes to not just become a superstar, but just to be a quality, authentic good artists and really spend time and develop your craft. And we're not seeing that from some of the newer people because of sometimes social media will run with a snippet of a song, but this person doesn't have any stage experience, they don't have any business savvy, they what I mean, it's just this snippet of the song that went wild, and now we want to put them on the biggest stages. And so I think it does create kind of a disparity as well, because you still have those artists we are out here, we're pounding the pavement, we've been doing it for 10 plus years, we've been developing our sound, our craft, we've been paying those dues to be on those bigger platforms, but we're still overlooked because our song hasn't gone viral on TikTok.
Right, 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 right. So, and I tell indie artists all the time, man. You got the campaign. You got the campaign. Whether it's the internet radio campaign, was the FM campaign, a civil satellite, or a college campaign, you got the campaign. And I'm not saying that you got a campaign. You at least got a campaign every 3 months. You know what I mean? You at least need to have buy some radio packages or some radio campaigns at least every 3 months, at least every 90 days. Because you want people to hear who you are, and you want them program directors to really understand, like, this person got a sound of their own. This person is hot, and it's no telling what can happen once those program directors start sharing the music with one another. You know, um, Let me send this over to a promoter. Let's see if they want to book her or want to book him. So it can create a chain reaction. And so, as far as you being independent and things of that nature, what do you feel about campaigning as far as an artist needing to campaign?
Oh, it's an absolute must. I mean, you have to have a rollout. And part of a rollout is radio, is PR, is write-ups, is press, it's all of that. You need a full rollout in whatever you're doing, because the other part of that is you can't be the only one talking about your music. You got to build an audience, critics, people that are listening to it, that want to share it. And that's important for any artist. That's really the only way, in my opinion, to build a real fan base, and even to build that real momentum that you need, is you have to promote your music.
Right, 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 right. So we have my good friend Latoya Toya Brand tapping in out there in Atlanta, Georgia. See if the things. She's a herbalist, up and coming holistic doctor, and any Anybody who has any type of health issues, she got something for you that's gonna help you, and that's a fact, Jack. So tap in with her, check her out. Look her up on all social media platforms. And if you can't find her, just inbox me. I send you her links and send you her pages and whatnot, man. But she's definitely doing something for the culture to help the culture, you know, um, to be healed and to be great. So we appreciate her tapping in.
Absolutely.
And we got your manager tapping in, Mr. Brian. Salute, salute, salute to, One Nation Under God, the music empire that he's built. And man, thanks for tapping in. And, I appreciate you, brother, for sure, for sure. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back momentarily with national recording artist, none other than K Soul. Stay tuned for more important messages.
I'm tired of lying, and it's getting plain to see. I done tried hard to deny, but this woman changing me. Might go to the clubs, but I leave kinda early, and I don't drink and drive, but chug and jive, so my woman ain't gotta worry. No, no. See, I can't be playing with her heart or playing with her mind. We ain't getting no younger, can't play with my time. And I know she miss me and can't wait to kiss me. So I might be invited tonight.
You ain't gotta look for me.
I might be invited tonight. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, shout out to a Southern Soul artist from the SIP, from the great state of Mississippi, my man, Too Smooth. His man said he might be in by 10 tonight. You ain't got to look for me. You ain't got to worry. Hey, listen. Hey, listen, man. Hey, listen. He said he coming. So, shout out to him. So, you have a song that I particularly like. Listen to it about 4 times a day. Man, explain to me about that Corinthians love. What the world? What's going on with that Corinthians love?
Corinthians love came about as I usually am sitting in my home studio thinking about, what I'm writing about, what I'm saying, and I had been really meditating on that word, what it means. And I'm like, why don't we just go to the scripture and expound upon that, and really just lay it out, because like I was saying earlier, we are in this world where so many things are looked at as love that is not love. So I wanted to just lay it out as clear as possible, and don't take my word for it. This is what God has to say about it.
Mm. So, as you was writing that song, it's really smooth, jazzy blues, but with a little twist of neo soul in it, and it's got an R&B twist as well. So, as you was writing that song, and once you really heard the production on the song, and your producer orchestrated the beat, um, what type of moment was you in as far as mind space, emotional space?
I think I was in a space of really trying to figure that out, really, really thinking about what that word means. Um, when I started writing this album and the songs that I've been releasing as a part of it, my heart was heavy. I was at a transitional time in my life, and I was really trying to figure out where I was going next, in my life, in my music, my career. And um, the idea of what love is and how that affects us, and how it plays into every part of our lives. I was intrigued by that, and that was the space that I was in of really wanting to have a greater understanding.
So, you females are on the emotional side, and so when they listen to it, I feel like they'll get it and they'll break it down syllable by syllable, lyric by lyric, and just take a whole vibe while they listen to it and sipping their red wine and think about what has went on in the last 5 years. So, but for the men, the males, the fellas, do you think that they really understand where you're coming from, or do you have to be in a what you call a social session or in a panel discussion to really break that down to them? So, do you think that they really get it?
No, I think that they can get it. I wrote these records from a very neutral positioning,
Okay.
especially the love records. Even in the other songs, Curvy Kind of Love, Better Love. Better love is saying, hey, let's sit down, let's talk. It's mature. It's not like I'm mad at you and you did this. It's like, hey, we both have baggage. We both have a past. Let's work through it. Let's love each other better. So I think from a female perspective, I'm trying to take some accountability, which I think can help, put down those defensive walls that men and women can relate to what I'm saying.
So, Curry Love and Better Love, those are two other ballads that you have. And so, did you write them from the same place of a emotional and a writer's perspective that you wrote Corinthians Love from, or was it totally different?
I think I was in the same space of exploring love, but Curvy Kind of Love is more of an open letter. It's more of that self-love. It's that profound statement, of, demanding a love that accepts you totally and completely and not feeling like you need to apologize for that. And like I said, better love is that conversation that's saying, hey, I love you. I want this to work, but there's some issues here. Let's break it down. Let's work it out. So, those spaces, while they're still kind of in that same area, they each take on um, a different role in your life. One being self-love, one being love for one another, someone else, and then the other being God's love.
Okay, okay. So when you're writing, are you a type of person that like to write mid tempo, up tempo, or do you love writing ballads?
I do it all. I'll probably say that I may lean towards mid tempos and not necessarily even purposely. That's just kind of where a lot of my vibes end up going, but I don't stray away from any of it. Different records call for different things, so I like to be versatile in my presentation of these songs.
Okay, okay. So the versatility. So we're going to talk about imagery, and we're going to talk about fashion, right? For a recording artist, right? So I seen you sitting at the piano. So that's groovy. I said that's classy. I said that's Aretha, Patty, Anita, giving me Gladys Knight vibes, give you some Shaka Khan type vibes, and it's how women look back in the day. You know what I mean? They was performers, but they still kept it really elegant, really classy. So, with you being a younger artist, right? What stems you to keep it classy and elegant like that?
I think that's the core of who I am. I was raised, my grandmother was a Southern Baptist woman, so they were very modest, if you will, conservative. And a lot of those type of values have stuck with me. I just believe that women should be classy. We should be pulled together. We should be proper. You can call that old school, which it is, but that's just true to who I am. So, that's not knocking anything anybody else chooses to do, but that's how I choose to present myself.
Okay, so when you put your wardrobe together, for your show dates and things of that nature, what type of process is that for you? Just your music is hot, it's dope because people want you to come and perform. So it's one thing for you to say it, but for people to request you to come to their states and perform, that's a whole different level. And so when you coordinate and put that fashion together, how long does it take? What is your mindset like? And do you have to put together 3, 4 outfits to really make one stick?
Oh, and I love fashion. You probably figured that out.
I do. Yes,
I'm
yes.
I'm always looking at stuff, whether it's I'm looking at a fashion blog or some boutiques that I follow. So I'm always just kind of looking at pieces, even when I don't have anything coming up, because I'm anticipating that I'll have something and I want to, kind of keep some cool pieces around for me to pull from. But I try to think about, what the audience is, what the venue is, what you might wear for an evening set show you're not gonna necessarily wear for a festival during the middle of the day. And I try to make it something that I feel is fashion for, but also comfortable to me, because that's important when I'm on stage. I wanna look good, but I also want to feel good and be comfortable in what I have on so that I can perform to my best. It's never overnight. I'm always looking, I'm always considering, what I wanna present, what the set is going to be like. So it's really a fun process for me, and I have a lot of pieces, that I've accumulated over the years.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. So, as far as you performing though, what's the longest set that you've ever played?
I've done a 2-hour set,
Wow.
in Chicago. It wasn't straight through. We, like, did an hour with a break and an hour. So the longest I've did continuously has been an hour set.
Okay, 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 okay. So the preparation for that set and to keep them vocals, as we say, keep your vocals loosened up and strong. Because the vocal cords is something serious. Especially when you're a singer. How you're breathing while you're singing. You know, um, your mouth not getting dry while you're singing, and your and your and your throat is really got the moisture in it as far as you drinking some hot honey lemon tea before you go on set. And so how do you prepare before you go on set as far as your vocals?
Well, I try to be mindful of my vocal health throughout, so I'm big on staying hydrated, of course. Vocal stamina is important. You mentioned breath control, so working out, being on a treadmill, things of that nature help. And then I usually have my 3-day rule before a show. I'm eating very light. I'm drinking a lot of water. The key word is hydration, and then my hot tea always. Before any performance, I have hot tea, and depending on the set, I may even have a bottle of water on stage with me.
Okay, okay. And so with that being said, do you do vocal exercises or vocal training as well?
I've done vocal training in the past. A lot of what I do now is my own warm-ups as well as working with my, MD. I work with him, so a lot of rehearsal time. And then he kinda adds in that other part of that vocal coaching in there so we can fix, whatever we may need to fix, or we may create some space in the set for me to, catch my breath and make sure I'm able to move into the next song fluently.
Okay, cool, cool. So you're a singer, so I must ask you about bridges and breakdowns. Because a lot of songs now don't have the bridge and breakdown like a mint condition, don't have the bridge and breakdown, like a Avant, don't have the bridge and breakdown, you know, um, like somebody like a Jill Scott or Selena Johnson. I try to tell the younger artists, man, where's your bridge at? Where's the breakdown at, man? Like, you didn't even take them to church. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So let's Let's talk about that for you, because that's very important when it comes to a singer.
It is, and I definitely have songs that include those things, but I also have songs that don't. I think, as you mentioned earlier, we're in a different era of music. Songs are a lot shorter than they were then. Because sometimes there's just not room for all of that. Um, and so I think it depends on the song now. I still make longer songs, but I also have to make some shorter songs because I have to be, still keep myself in the modern times. You don't want to sound too dated. So I think there can be a healthy balance between the two.
Okay, okay, that's great. So, One Nation Under God is a home for you, and there's a lot of artists on One Nation Under God. So, is are there are there at least 3 to 4 artists that you would like to do a feature with, that you like always check out when they drop something new?
Yes, there's some artists that have worked with One Nation that I think are really great. Robin Birch is one of them. Shout out to Robin. She's a really dope, like kind of contemporary Christian artist. Des, he's a hip hop Christian artist. So I think both of them are really dope. And when we get that right record together, for us to have a chance to collaborate.
Okay, 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 great, 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 great. So when when somebody approaches you, be like, "Man, you wrote that song," and you be like, "Of course, yeah, sure, I did." So with you having great songwriting skills and songwriting ability, are you looking to write for other people to really get some of that publishing money?
I would love to. I actually started out some of my first records. I was giving those to other artists, and when I was working with this local label in Chicago, I would write a lot of like hooks for like the rappers and stuff like that. So if the opportunity presents itself, I'm definitely open to that.
Oh, it's definitely gonna present itself. Yeah, trust and believe that. Yeah, you definitely well on your way. And so I seen a flyer with you, and it says for a Grammy consideration. I said to myself, look at her for a Grammy consideration. So, what was that feeling like?
It's still surreal that that even happened like that. That was my first time having my music accepted by the Recording Academy. So I was just feeling really blessed, really honored. And it really just gave me a sense of just that extra fire, like keep going, keep pushing, like you're really, on your way to something greater. So I'm just, using that as momentum to keep moving forward.
Yeah. So, as far as you, when they said who is K Soul, what is the answer for you?
Queso is a girl from the south side of Chicago who has experienced a lot of difficulties in life, but has chosen to take those and use that pain and turn it into power, turn it into passion, turn it into purpose. I'm a healing artist. Everything I do, I believe, is bigger than myself. And so my goal is always to see the heart of people and to speak to their heart.
So we talking about the real PPP, power, purpose, and passion.
Yeah, I like that. Yes.
Okay, okay, okay. I can dig it. I can dig it. I can dig it. And so for you, man, I know you got a new project coming out. Is there any surprises that we should be looking forward to on this new project?
Well, I'm preparing to roll it out with a single.
Okay.
It's I think it's a different side of me that people haven't heard. I'm merging a whole bunch of genres together. A little nervous,
Uh-huh.
um, but I think people will be pleasantly surprised by the fusion of genres in there as well as the subject matter. Like, not sugarcoating anything. I'm just speaking straight from the heart on every topic and being pretty raw in my message.
Okay, okay. And with that being said, as far as your project, will there be a listening party or album release party?
Yes, we are going to do a listening party. We haven't quite gotten all the details yet. The We're looking at summer for that. So we're putting that together now and looking to start promoting that very soon.
Okay, okay, okay. So they say K Soul is a really talented person. So what is the difference between K Soul and K Soul music?
I don't think there is a difference. I mean, the music, I always called it K-soul music because that really is the genre of it. It's K-soul. It's music straight from my soul. It's my pain in, written in melodic, harmonic form. So they're one and the same.
Well, I think that K Soul is the brand, and I think K Soul music is a whole vibe.
Okay.
If you look at the person K Soul, she is her own entity. She is a brand. But if you look at K Soul music, that's a whole vibe. That's that's an art form that can take you to another destination where you just want to just lay back and not be bothered and just want to get into your healing space. Leave the rest of the world alone and just let me get on this K Soul vibe. So I think it's two different entities, and I think both of them should be copywritten and trademarked. K Soul and K Soul music. You know what I mean? Just because when your name is on a marquee, when K Soul is on a marquee at a festival, if it's trademark, then they definitely got to pay you for putting your name up there, without you even opening your mouth, singing at all. They still got to pay you. So with that being said, it's 90% business and only 10% music. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and that's why we hear these artists. You be like, how they do that? Because they got their business in order. They got their business in order, and a lot of artists got to understand that it's more corporate structure into this business than anything. The entertainment business is so corporate, man. It's so corporate. Um, a lot of people think the music business, it's not just all about the music. It's about your IP addresses, especially when you own the IP address. People got to pay you. When you own your own IP address, they have to pay you. You know what I mean? And your music has and you. That's why I said that K Soul, if they want to use your face on something, that's your intellectual property. They have to pay you. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? They have to pay you for your intellectual property, whether it's a flyer, whether it's a magazine. And then you got your music, you have enough great songs to definitely be on movie scores. You know what I'm saying? So getting them sync licensing deals is gonna, take you out of the workplace where you can do music full time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
You know what I
get
mean?
it.
So K Soul is that brand. So you know what I mean, and you definitely a superstar. So never let nobody the good book said, touch not my anointed. So you know what I mean. Don't never let nobody you know uh try to tell you that you ain't a whole vibe, that your music is not a whole vibe. You know what I mean? It's some artists that got great music, but they're not likable people. So you have great music and you're a likable person, and you the type of person, if you can touch and agree with somebody, then y'all can make something happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I say salute to you. So before we get out of here, are there any shout outs you want to give out, any announcements you want to make?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that to me. I truly appreciate that, and I receive that wholeheartedly. Definitely want to shout out my label, Nation the God Records. We're just grinding this thing out. I want to shout out my collaborators, Anthony Smith, Eric Ficklin, Joseph Delfino. Those are my guys in Chicago that have been helping me put this project together. The album is called Heavy Set. It's a double meaning. It's about the heavy set pressures of the world, as well as being what you might consider a heavy set woman in the world, and my view on how the world sees me just because of that. And
That's so
I
dope.
just, yeah.
That's so dope. You know what I mean? I got a homeboy and he said, I ain't never been loved right until I got loved by a plus size woman. That- he been saying that for 20 years. You know what I mean? So I say, hey, and for you to come out with something like that, oh, that's gonna raise some eyebrows.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to give the truest form of who I am. I can't be anybody else. So, shout out to my Heavenly Father for just continuing to keep me protected, keep me safe. Um, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every day that I get to share this art with the world.
No doubt, no doubt. And so, artists, the announcement made, me and my partner Icon E and publicist Nicole M. Jordan, we launched 168 Radio in February. Um, and the reason it's called 168 because there's 168 hours in a week, and we're asking the artists, what are you doing with your week? You know,
Mm,
so and artists, if you want your music in rotation, starting March 15th, a 2 song minimum, and it's only $9.99 a month to keep you in rotation. So there's no other radio station that's going to keep you in rotation for $10 a month. You know what I mean? So if we did it because the independents, they said, man, somebody got to look out for us. So that's what we doing, looking out for your cookout. And so if you guys want that rotation, you can play. And so content creators, if you want your content added up, um, turning you from a content creator into a radio personality is $9.99 a month too. And if people want to advertise with you, on your segment, you charge them what you want to charge them, and you keep that advertising money. And so that's how you make your money, off your show. So, but yeah, we are, here and we are trying to make a global precedent where everybody can win and everybody can show the world their talent. So, but I want to say shout out to your management, to your record label, One Nation Under God, Mr. Brian Irby, and yeah, he's a dope talent, and he's so underrated as a CEO,
yes,
and as a music consultant, he's so underrated. So, but don't worry about it. It's coming, it's coming. Sometimes when we think it should happen in our time, it's gonna happen in God's time. So you got to be patient, and you gotta stay steadfast and stay committed and stay dedicated. So. Man, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show. Peace and blessings to you in all your up and coming endeavors. And so you're live, raw, and uncut with the Chatterbox, and none other than national recording artist K Soul. Peace and blessings. We out of here.
peace.
Peace.